the funniest thing is now when I get asked like, oh, what do you do? Like, oh, like sometimes it's too much to explain. So I'll just like, oh, I have work, like to someone who I don't know. Like for exhibit A, like I think my nail lady, like the lady who does my nails, she's like, oh, did you have work today? And I'm like, yeah, earlier.
Welcome to Social Kick. I'm Brian Lundquist. We got the full crew, Dr. John Mullen, Luke Paddington, and we wore pink today for Abbey Weitzeil. What's going on, Abby? How are you?
I should have worn pink. I didn't wear pink.
So used to seeing you wear pink,
I like
so
the pink.
Man, what's we've got a few quick rapid fire questions and then we'll have a conversation. But Just want to know, what's the worst nickname someone ever gave you?
I don't a worse one.
Yeah.
I'm not good at rapid fire. I'm sorry. Okay. I don't have a worse one. No one's ever. Okay. Well, on Cal, the girls used to call me Dubs. My old trainer made it up. Dubs for W, the Warriors, like W Weitzeil. So Dubs was my nickname in college. And so I liked that one. That was a unique one.
You should know Luke is a gigantic Warriors fan too. So
I'm a Warriors fan.
Boom.
Let's go. So it was a great nickname.
Tough life for you guys this year. All right. What snack did high school Abby have in her swim bag versus what snack does 2023 Abby have in her swim bag?
Ooh, okay. So high school Abby probably had a bunch of like those peanut butter pretzels. Like from, those ones from Trader Joe's, which I could still down those, but that was like, I loved those things. And now what snack do I have in my bag? Probably like a protein bar. Like I love some sort of like Kodiak cake, something protein, little snacky guy that I can eat in between weights and swimming or something like that.
That sounds good. Those peanut butter things are addicting.
I needed to not eat the whole bag, so we just don't buy them. I can't buy snacks that I will eat the entire thing because I don't have self-control. Like I can't buy stuff unless I'm prepared to eat the entire bag. That's like why there's no snacks in my house, because I eat meals, and if there's too many snacks, I will eat. There's countless times where a bag of Cheetos just disappears because I bought it. So
there's a headline: you're a snackaholic. You can't control yourself.
I love
Sprinter going all out.
But I can't buy the snacks because I'll eat them all.
I knew I would enjoy talking to you. I don't think there's any self-control in the whole group.
Oh yeah, no, I don't have self-control. So.
All right, last one. If you were to do a keg stand with Fieldwork beer, which one of theirs would you choose?
Jackson Whalen. Jackson Whalen, my beer. It's a great beer. It really is. I can show you the can while it's over there, but
go get it. I think I speak.
Okay, wait, I have it. Hold on.
Yeah, perfect. Yeah, this is great. And also maybe with a return trip post swimming career, Abby can do a keg stand and we'll all enjoy it with a keg full.
Oh God,
that's a nice
I don't need to do that.
Show us.
Isn't it fun? It's like blue and yellow for Cal. Go Bears. So these are my dogs, Waylon and Jax. I'm like backwards on the screen, so I'm trying to like point. This is Jax the Husky and Waylon. And then it says a little brewmance with Abbey Weitzeil, so it's really cute.
A brewmance.
Yeah, it's just a solid beer. It's just a good. I'm not drinking them right now because we got trials soon, but it's a great beer to just have in the summer. And I wish I could have one right now, but it's just a solid guy. I loved it. So if I had to do a cake, then I have to choose Jackson Whalen.
That sounds fantastic. How long is dry season for a pro swimmer like you?
I want to know who asked that question. It has to be one of my friends.
No, nobody asked that. I wrote that one.
Oh, I thought that was like one of the rapid fire.
Brian Lundquist. Okay. This is his Brian Lundquist head.
We'll get to some of the guest ones. If you wrote in and asked us a question.
Oh, I thought that was a guest one. I was like, that definitely had to be one of my friends. Never mind. It was you.
Funny is sometimes we get the submissions for guests, and it's hard to tell if it's somebody that you know or if it's somebody who's just like a crazy fan who loves asking lots of questions.
It's just like a nosy human and just like knows things.
Yeah, we have one that just said wow, and we have another one that's like, what's the best thing about being Abbey Weitzeil?
I don't know. I don't
know.
know.
Feel free to answer that or not. It would be yours to answer, not ours.
I don't know. I still like
I don't really know how to answer that.
Another one, her unpopular opinion. I'm still wanting to know what that means for you.
Oh yeah, that's like a hot takes one. Do you have any hot takes?
Hot take? God, see, rapid fire, I'm like so bad at them. Like, what's a hot take?
I don't know, John. You got any hot takes?
About it. Come back.
Cincinnati Reds make the playoffs this year. There's your hot take.
You guys have a good new player, right? De La Cruz. He's really good.
There we go. Yeah, man. 118, hitting the ball off the bat. He's killing it.
I'm so amazed. I remember. It's like crazy. Okay.
On to swimming.
Anyway, what's going on? You're a few weeks out from trials. Sounds like you're still making some time to be able to do life. Looks like you guys got away for a wedding on the opposite coast recently. So
yeah.
What's going on right now in your life?
So crazy. I'm at that age where all my friends are getting married, which is so fun. But I feel like I have a wedding every other weekend. But luckily, my fiance was in that wedding. It's a close friend, so I made the trip out to the East Coast. It was in North Carolina. I flew in and flew out. So I flew in Friday night, swam Saturday morning, went to the wedding, flew out Sunday morning. So it was a quick trip, but it was great. It was a big, bear reunion, lots of swimmers. So it was really fun. But yeah, I leave Sunday for OTC. So we're going to OTC 2 weeks before trials to finish our taper. So I leave Sunday. I'll be there for a couple weeks, and then we go straight to trials on the 24th, which is the Saturday before. So I'm packing. I'm busy packing for my life, basically, because we go OTC from the 11th to the 24th, and then we go trials from the 24th to I leave on the 2nd, that Sunday after. And then I come home, and hopefully I've made the world's team, which means that I'll be home for, I don't know exactly how many days, maybe 5 to 7. And then we leave for training camp. So I'm only going to be home for a week. And then I go to hopefully Worlds, training camp in Worlds. And then I go straight from Worlds to a vacation in Greece. And then I come home. So like August 10th or something. So I'm gone the rest of the summer, basically starting this Sunday, which is crazy. That's why I'm like, oh my God, I have to pack, because after trials, hopefully I will be then packing Worlds. Which means I'll have like 5 days at home to like pack for Worlds, training camp, and Greece. And I'm a shopper, so I've already been doing all my Greece shopping, like making sure I have everything ready to go, because your girl loves her outfits. So I had to make sure I had things ready to go. And so I'm gone for the rest of the summer, starting this Sunday, which is like really crazy to say, but I'm really excited. And I think it'll be a really good step going to the, Colorado Springs, and just kind of being able to really focus in these last 2 weeks. You have nothing out there to do but train and rest up and work on your recovery and not have to worry about eating because all the food's there. So it's kind of nice. And I will miss my own bed. That's the saddest part about leaving this Sunday. My dog, but
I have to ask, at the weddings, do any of the Cal alumni ever show up in the bear suit?
No, they should.
Come on.
No, my sister has one. It's in the closet, I think. Should I go get it?
More show and tell.
I think it is in our closet. No, those bear suits. The funniest thing is they get hot in those. Those things are hot.
Sure.
Like they are heavy
evident.
and so it's kind of funny watching them, because I feel like they get more TV time in those bear suits than the swimmers do. It's kind of funny.
Probably true.
But I love it. I've been in the stands for the men's swim meet in 2019. It was during our spring break, and so I went, and it's fun. It's a fun time up there. But they should bring the bear suits to a wedding. That would be kind of funny.
When you went Raleigh, you got to swim in. Did you just show up at a pool, or you called up like an NC State friend, or you just showed up at a Y and jumped in a lane? Explain what happened.
In Raleigh?
Yeah.
No, I just Y. I lifted. So normally, I flew out Friday after morning practice. So I didn't swim Friday afternoon because I landed at like 6 p.m. there, which is totally fine. We're resting, so me and Dave knew I was going. weeks before, so fine. And then I just went Saturday morning and swam, splashed around and lifted, did my Friday lift. And so no, I didn't go to like any college or anything. I just took it upon myself.
What I was getting at is that you just showed up at Y, and I don't know, the swimmers you get at Y, and there's Abbey Weitzeil next to
Well,
you.
I don't know if anyone knew who I was.
You can tell by how you swim.
Well, someone definitely was like, "Do you
Stop
swim?"
splashing.
And I was like, "Yeah, I swam in college. I didn't need to start the I was like, "Yeah, I swam in college."
You swim. There's
I had a towel on my calf, and they were like, "Oh," I was like, "Yeah, I swam
pretty
at Cal."
good.
Yeah. I was like, yeah. I swam at Cal. They're like, "Oh, cool." It's like, yeah.
Isn't it funny that that's the question that everybody asks is, did you swim in college? It's like, that's what people know as elite swimming, because for a lot of years that was as far as swimming would go. So if it's like somebody older, they just think, did you swim in college? And somebody like you're like, I mean, yeah, but
Yeah.
and sometimes I've faced with that question too, like, hey, where did you swim? And I was like, I mean, I guess I'll answer your question directly, but if you wanted to ask like a level of swimming, that'd be a different answer.
Yeah, and like the funniest thing is now when I get asked like, "Oh, what do you do?" Like, "Oh, like," sometimes it's too much to explain, so I'll just like, "Oh, I have work," like to someone who I don't know. Like for exhibit A, like I think my nail lady, like the lady who does my nails, she's like, "Oh, did you have work today?" And I'm like, "Yeah, earlier." Like it's just easier to say work, but sometimes when people are like, "Oh, what do you do?" I'm like, here we go. I'm like, "Oh, I'm a professional athlete." And they're like, "Oh, cool." And sometimes that just like is the end of the conversation. And I'm like, "Yeah." And then sometimes they're like, "Are you trying to go to the Olympics?" And I'm like, "Yeah. I went, but I'm trying to go again." And they're like, "Oh, cool." Like I feel like it's so, and someone has told me this before. Meeting someone, some people have like never met someone like of this caliber of like an athletic, someone who went to the Olympics, or like someone, I'm not famous, but like someone higher of caliber. And they were like, it's just like people can't grasp that they're meeting someone who like went to the Olympics, And so they're like, someone once asked me like, "Oh, wait, no, this is a funny story. We were at training camp for Tokyo in 2021 in Hawaii, and there was a bunch of us girls, and we were in the elevator." And this person was like, "Oh, like, what are you guys here for?" And we were like, "Oh, we're here for training camp. Like, we're in Team USA shirts. Like, we were all matching." And they were like, "What are you here for?" And we're like, "Oh, we're here for like training camp." And they're like, "For what?" And we all were kind of like, "The Olympics." And they were like, "Oh, sick. Like the Junior Olympics?" And we were like, "No, like we're on our way to Tokyo." Like, I don't know. It was like people can't like grasp that like they would be meeting someone going to the Olympics. Like for us, it's so normal that to like meet and know athletes of such high caliber. Yeah. And for other people, I mean, it's like, "Oh, I'm honored that you're so like can't grasp that concept, but like I'm totally normal. Like we're just, yeah." But it's kind of funny. Like, no, not the Junior Olympics, like the Olympics. That person on the elevator, and we all were like, that was so funny.
I mean, I'll be honest though, standing next to somebody like Reagan Smith, who's like petite in stature.
I mean, I think there were a few younger girls there. Like they were younger, and I mean, I don't look old in my like bun or whatever. Like I just like I could probably blend in, whatever. But yeah, it was just funny. But yeah, I guess the women's team in Tokyo was super young, so it kind of was funny.
Yeah. Okay, I do need to know, if you go to a pool when you're traveling that's not your home pool and it's somebody hasn't arranged for you to go and be there for free, what's the most you've ever paid to swim in a pool?
Probably like $20.
God, that's outrageous.
Isn't that crazy? We didn't have to pay for the Y. They just let us in because I think they were busy. We were like, "Can we have a day pass?" And
just slid in.
Yeah, well, we were like, "Can we have a day pass?" And she was like, "Are you like a member somewhere else?" We were like, No. She's like, and she kind of was busy. She's like, "Yeah, just fill these out and like go in." So we were like, sick, because the day pass did say like $20 on it. But yeah, I've definitely paid to lap swim before.
I'll tell you one quick.
Like, well,
Yeah, but it's a weird feeling when you're used to getting into pools free and you're used to just
Yeah.
all of the things, like you've got sponsors and they send you stuff, like you don't pay for things. That's the whole part. People say like, what is it like to be a pro swimmer? What does that mean? And you're like, well, to start off with, like, yeah, I mean, I get paid to do this, but also like I get all my stuff for free. Like that's a big part of it. So it
I
feels
get
weird
all
to
my
then go and
swimming
pay.
stuff for free. Yeah, it's definitely. I'm lucky. I'm definitely lucky that I get to. I was just making. This is funny. Stay tuned because I was just making a. I was dabbling in the social media. I haven't posted it yet, but I was doing like a pack with me video for like my trip coming up because like I was like, this is cool. I'm bored. So I was like, okay, so I'm gonna post it, but it was just like all my Speedo stuff and it was kind of fun. So stay tuned. I don't know how it's gonna turn out. I'm really not savvy with the video situation, but we're trying.
Your elevator story reminded me of when I was in Australia working with Team China, and it was some older Australian couple, and then maybe 8 members of the Chinese national team and myself, and me and the rest of the Chinese team were all wearing China gear, China flag on everything, red everything. You know, teammates on the elevator, they're chatting it up, talking Mandarin, like loud, going crazy, and these 2 older white people are just sitting there, standing. The athletes get off on their floor. I'm with the team on the next floor. Once the athletes get off, the older couple looks at me and goes, "Where do you think all these people are from?" And I was like, I think we're from China, or like they're from China. That's who they're representing. Literally, like China flag on everything. You know how team gear is. I mean, it's on everything. Like you said, with your U.S. gear, Olympic rings on everything. It's just like, I wonder where they're from. And I was like, I don't know what you mean by this statement exactly, but they're from China, and we'll just leave it at that.
Very
That's kinda
clearly.
funny.
Maybe they're just big China fans. Maybe they're not from there. Maybe they're just big team supporters. It's so fun elevator stuff. Yeah, I remember I think it's like 2008 Olympic trials, maybe 12. I remember standing in the elevator at the hotel. It was right next to trials, and in walks Bob Costas, who was the NBC announcer for those trials and like a longtime announcer for so many things sports wise. And like you talking about people saying, "Oh, this is the Junior Olympics," and like I wonder if they were nodding to just like your build or how young you might look. I looked at Bob Costas and I just thought this guy is tiny. I mean, he was so little. And granted, as swimmers and somebody like yourself who's like a tall, athletic build swimmer, you're used to being around body types of a similar size. So when you're around other people that are maybe of like a more normal height, it's like it can be a bit weird when people make a comment. "Oh man, you're so tall," and you're like, "Oh, I didn't even think about it," because everybody else I spend my life around is as tall or taller than me.
That's really funny you say that because this is so random, but it is true. Like when I go to a wedding full of swimmers, I don't feel massive in my heels because everyone's so tall. Whereas like if I go to a wedding where there's not really swimmers there, I feel huge because I'm like just taller than everyone. I'm like broader, which is like it's fine. I just walk in there and everyone's like, "Well, you're tall." But I'm really not that tall. Like people who look at me and meet me are like, "How tall are you? Like 6'3"? I'm like, "No, I'm 5'10".
Yes, 5'10".
And they're like, people will argue with me. They're like, "No, you're over 6 foot." And I'm like, "No, I know how tall I am. I'm like 5'10" and a half. We'll go that. Like I am not 5'11". I know that for a fact. I look taller than I am. People have always told me I carry myself like I'm over 6 foot. I don't really know what that means, but people are like, "Oh, you carry yourself like you're 6 foot." And I'm like, I'm not. So I don't. And then I know my legs are extremely long in proportion to my other parts of my body. Like my torso doesn't really exist. My legs are really long. So like, especially in a swimsuit, like I probably look taller than I actually am because if you look at my legs, like they're really long. So I don't really, posture. See, I slouched again. So it's kind of just funny. People swear that I'm 6'2" or 3", and I'm like, no, I'm not.
Well, you probably swim long. Abbey, from a 5'10" average height for a man, very short for a sprinter guy. I have an elevator story too that brings us to Dubs. The Rio Olympic Games. We got to go elevators on height. Rio Olympic Games. My company had me staying on a cruise ship for the NBA athletes. So I'm entering the elevator of the NBA, and there's Draymond Green standing next to me. So I'm like Star Trek. This is 2016, right? KD's on the team.
Yeah.
Draymond is up there, and I'm kind of intimidated with Draymond. So I just kept my butt quiet and just mind my own business. He doesn't need to speak to me. But being up close to these NBA athletes is what got me to like, wow, these are just like, feats of human of nature. Not what I'm trying to say. And then Stanford had the Prefontaine Classic for track and field, and I got to go trackside to the Prefontaine Classic and see the 100, 200, and 400-meter runners like right next to me, and to see how fast their legs move and how fast these athletes run up close in person. You take it for granted when you see it. You don't realize it till you see it in real life. And that's why I'm bringing it back to a question to you. So it goes back to the YMCA. And do you realize the gift that you have? Are you grateful to continue being in this sport and the gift that you have and to continue swimming, past college and go for your third Olympic Games? Talk about the love of swimming and the gift that we all had, but, especially yourself for the accomplishments you had.
No, I love that. So that's something I tell when I do like clinics or Q&As with teams or, a talk at a banquet or whatever I do. I always mention that. I always mention that we're very lucky to be able to do what we do because not many people, we are a small percentage of the world that can do what we can do.
Yeah.
And even when you're a club swimmer or a college swimmer, a high school swimmer, not many people can move through the water like we can. So it's really cool that we get to do it every day. And I always say, like, I have the best job in the world. And especially like now that I'm closer to the end of my career than I was the beginning, you learn that as you go through. And I've definitely become more aware of how much I love it as I've gone through, especially as a professional athlete. And not many people get to do what I get to do. And I have to remind myself of that on a like hard day or days where I'm, I don't really want to go to practice today or do this. It's like, you know what, this is like awesome. And I better soak it up because I'm going to miss it so much when I'm done. And swimming is going to come to an end. It always does, no matter, whoever you are, it's going to come to an end. It's not going to be your entire life. So, I'm just trying to enjoy it and soak it up. And I feel like I've really done that this last year, and realizing that my time is coming to a close in the next few years. It's definitely, I'm not 12 starting swimming anymore. So I just love being able to do this, especially, not California recently because it's been cold, but I know, but I'm like, I get to go out and swim in the sun. I get to work out for a living, be in the best shape of my life that I'll never be in ever again. I get to compete. I get to do all of these things that are just amazing. And I love it. Absolutely love it. And I do have to remind myself of that sometimes. My fiance never lets me forget that, actually, because he is a swimmer. He swam at Callan. He works a normal job now. And so he works from home. So he's home all day. And whenever I come home from practice and I'm like so tired, or like I say something like I start complaining about how hard practice was, or I'm like, oh, it's raining, I don't want to go to practice, or like something like that. He's like, you want to do my job? I'll go. He's like, you have the best job in the world. Stop it. I'm like, oh, okay, you're valid. Okay. So he keeps me honest, honestly, but he misses swimming. But that also reminds me that it will come to an end one day, and I will be where he's at, and I'm gonna miss it. So
how does that mindset and gratitude affect your thoughts going into taper, and maybe how has it changed from taper for yourself now as you head to altitude in Colorado Springs compared to where it was when you were trying to make your first Olympic team?
Yeah, I think there's a whole different mindset for me right now than I've ever had in my career before. Obviously, you go through separate mindsets, going from making your first Olympic team where I was the rookie. I was up and coming. No one was really sure if I was going to perform at trials. I had a lot of pressure on myself because I had deferred from Cal that first year. So I stayed home only to train. So there was a lot of pressure on myself, but not from the outside world because I hadn't done anything yet. And so then after 2016, you go to 2021, there's pressure from the outside. I am a veteran. I've made the team before. I've been on the national team this whole time. It's like, well, are you going to do it again? You're expected to. And I was obviously a veteran. I felt confident after COVID year. That's a whole different story. No one really knew where they were in their training, but it was kind of just like, I was like, you know what, I got this. I've done it before. I know how to do it. I felt more calm. But then there was also, it's like I felt more calm because I've done it before. I've been here. I know how to do it. Then there's the nerves because there's pressure to do it. So balancing that, and now going into my hopefully third Olympic team. Well, it will be my fourth Olympic trials, but my third team I'm trying to make, actually, because 2012 I went, but I was young. And so there is the same kind of pressure as 21, but I feel way more relaxed in the fact that I'm enjoying my journey a lot. And as a professional athlete, this will be my only Olympic trials as a professional. And it's just going to be a different, it's hard for me to put it into words. I'm not doing a very good job, I feel like. I think just enjoying it and realizing that I have put in all the work, and trusting that I know how to do it, and trusting in everything that I've done, where I've had some questions in my mind before walking up to the blocks for certain races. And now I just have a different mindset, and I don't think I explained that very well. It's very hard for me to put into words, but I'm excited for these next couple of years. And there's definitely still pressure from myself, and as this is like my job and it's what I do for a living and what I love to do, what I choose to do. And then there's the pressure from the outside world, like I said, where, who's going to do what? Who's going to hold on? What newbie's going to take a spot? And so there's always those questions going around that I just try and tune them out. But it's hard.
Yeah.
Abbey, that perspective that you have now, how much of that do you attribute to what you went through last year, missing the team for the first time in a while, taking a summer off, taking time away from the pool? I mean, all season now you're like totally on fire, scaring best times, super consistent. All of your results reflect everything that you just shared. But how much of that in your mentality has come from what your life has been like over the last year and a half?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think my mentality going into last trials was not good. And there was a part of me that didn't want to go to Worlds that year. I just wanted to take a break. And so I was heartbroken not making the team, but I also was like, okay, because I was like, I need a break. Like, I knew I needed and wanted a break. And so I went to trials, and it was earlier in the year than it was before. And I also came off, so Olympic year, I went Olympics, I went ISL. So I went Olympics, I took a break. And then I went to ISL. Then I came home for a month, and like at that point I hadn't like trained. So I like trained, went back to ISL for a month. And at ISL, you race a lot, but you don't train. You can't. Your nervous system's too shot. There's no time. Like, you can't get a training block in. So at this point, I went from the Olympics to a break where and then I did ISL and training at home for like 3 to 4 months. Then it was the holidays. So by the time January came around, I really hadn't trained yet. And so I wasn't even in shape last year. Like, I did January, February, March. Trials were in April. So I had nothing to taper off of. My mindset was not great. I didn't necessarily I obviously wanted to go, and I wanted to make the team. There were tears shed when I didn't make the team, but like in the back of my mind, I was like, it's okay. It's okay. It'll be okay. And so, I mean, I hadn't, a lot of people haven't, and it's not an excuse, but for me personally, it was hard. I had been doing the same thing for 8 years. Like, I hadn't had a break in 8 years. I've been on the national team since 2014, and I think I just wanted a break. I needed a break, and you know what? That was the greatest thing that could have happened in my career for me. I was able to turn my mind off from swimming for months and just go enjoy friends' weddings and a bunch of stuff that I never get to do. And I honestly didn't even watch Worlds. I just like needed to step away.
That's good.
And I came back ready to rock. So it was the greatest thing. And that's, I think, the biggest change in my career so far. So it's really exciting for me to be so fresh coming back and like wanting to do everything and wanting to train my hardest and do all of this, whereas I was struggling a little bit last year to do that.
Kudos.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Hell yeah. That's awesome. I love that. I love that for you. That's so awesome. And we don't, like, a lot of swimming careers aren't long enough to be able to see that arc of, you know, it's kind of, it's natural for, you know, your life not to be completely linear, you know, and you lived very consistent high performance life for a while. It's like, take a goddamn break.
I mean, it's not normal for swimming. It's not normalized to take breaks in swimming, minus like a couple weeks at the end of, it's like always August, you know, at the end of the,
right.
Whether you're a club swimmer or you're an international swimmer, like normally the meets end in August or early August. So you got 2 to 3 weeks off in August. So August is always like a fun time for everyone, but it's not normal to take months away from the pool. And it's kind of funny because there's always stories of someone taking months off and then coming back and thriving. And it's hard to come back. I'm out of shape. Like, dang, that was hard. I was not in shape. And that, my body was like, what are we doing? Hello. But it was good. It was the greatest thing that I think that my body needed and my mind needed mostly. So I'm pumped to hopefully make the team this year again and next year as well.
You're certainly on the hell of a right track. I have to ask you too about this, and I'm not digging for dirt, and you share whatever you feel like sharing or don't. But like some of the time period where you had off, I don't know all the dates, but like some of that it overlapped with all the stuff that was going on with Terri. And so I'm just curious, like, we talked before this, and none of us have gone through something where, you know, I've had a coach leave, as I mentioned before. Like Durden coached me for 2 years, and then he left in the middle of my, college career. And I remember the day that he told us he was leaving, and he was the primary person who recruited me. And so like, that was huge to see someone who I had so much respect for and loved swimming for, and he left. And I was like, God, like, you know, you have this moment of, well, shit. And so it's just sometimes when there are changes like that, it can be pretty major. And obviously that's been something that was going on at Cal. I'm just curious, like, what was it like during that time period? Is there anything that you could share just about like what life was like on the Cal deck during all that?
Yeah. So I was on break when the news broke. I was on vacation. I actually had COVID that week. I was in Oregon. It was a week. I was in Bend, Oregon on a vacation with my fiance and my dogs, and I was in the Airbnb with COVID. I actually got COVID and I tested positive when we arrived. So I was like ill in the Airbnb all week with my dogs, and my fiance was like out skiing.
Hold on, I do have something on Bend. I've Bend is the whitest place in America. That's my take on Bend. Yeah.
I was my first time there, but it's my fiance's like favorite place because he's a skier and his grandpa lives there. So I don't know. It was my first time there, and guess what? I had COVID, so I didn't see it at all. But yeah, I was on break when the news broke. So I woke up to my phone exploded.
Sure.
I woke up from sleep and I was like, who died? Because my phone was blown up. Like I couldn't even get through all of my messages or phone calls or missed calls. Like I had missed calls from a bunch of people. And so it was definitely a hard time. Just grasping everything that was happening. So yeah, it was just tough. And coming off of my break, it was just a question for me whether to stay at Cal or like go somewhere else or do like, at that point I had no idea if like the women's and the men's team were combining. Like there was nothing was known. And so for my question, I was like, as a pro, can I train with Dave, or do I leave? Like I was really deciding whether I like go to a separate program and start over or stay at Cal. And I love Cal, and it's my home, and I had also just signed a new lease, and I was like, well, you know, let's stick it out and see what happens. You know, I can always leave. And so I remember I had called Dave and originally asked if I could swim with him, because I was just planning to get back in the water. And actually, well, this was like later in the summer. I was still on break, obviously, when all this happened. But this was, I remember I went to nationals to swim the 50, but like I had been in the water for like 3 weeks before that. I don't even know why I went. And then I like swam terribly, and then I like took 3 more weeks off and then got back in with everyone in August. So I ignored the nationals in summer last year. But anyways, I had like asked Dave if I could swim with him. This was before like the combining of the programs. I was like, hey, can I swim with you and like feel it out and see what's going on, see what happens? He's like, yeah, of course. So I was like, thanks. And then I kind of just decided to stay and feel it out, and the door was always open for me to go do something else if I needed to or wanted to. And it was definitely hard, just a new beginning, new things to grasp. And so, yeah, it was to sum it up without getting too much into detail, it was very hard for me. So it took some time, but here we are, and I'm doing great. And so I love having a pro group, which I didn't have before. So that's really awesome for me. And it's been a huge, huge change that has done me amazing. We have 4 pros at Cal. We have me, Hunter, Ryan, and Sean. And it's just so fun. It's fun to have a group that's doing the same things as you and is on the same path as you. We're all there when the college team goes off to meets and all of that. So we're all kind of there, which is really, really awesome. And it's a really good environment. And so I've really, really enjoyed it. And whether change is pushed on you or not, change is a good thing. So even if I didn't decide myself to have this change, if I look in a positive light, you know, change is always a good thing. And it's been working out. I'm quick to adapting to things. And so it seems to be working for me.
I'm going to bring it to where we are now then. And thank you for sharing that. That was great. I would never have given my life up for anybody until I had kids. And there's no doubt I'll give my life up for them. I'm definitely not going to war for a country and give my life up for a country. But Dave Durden seems like the kind of man that every single of his athletes we've had in this show, these people should go to war for this man. Like, there's something about Dave Durden that he just like drives you to do something you don't expect to do. Talk to me about Dave and leading the women's program, and then your relationship with David, because David was with the LA Currents, and you saw many LA Currents, you know, and what was that? So you got, you know, what's the dynamic now with Dave and David on deck, and, you know, driving women's program to Cal, and, you know, going to be to where it's going to go?
Yeah. So I came in the same time as, well, a little bit. Let me start over. Working with Dave has been amazing. Working with Dave, he's an amazing guy. He's an amazing coach. And the relationship I think that everyone has with Dave is just very trusting. It's very trusting, and it's very comfortable, and it's very, it's fun. And I work mostly with either Dave or Durden or Matt Bow. So that is, I like, and speaking highly of Matt as well. He's an amazing guy and an amazing coach. And I've really, really liked getting to know him as well. And then there's David Marsh, who works primarily with the women's team or like the breaststroke group, honestly. So I don't spend that much time with David. He's a great guy. And when I see him around deck, and he's always one for a positive talk, or David's amazing at kind of getting in your head and letting you know that you're the best. He's a great guy at like pumping you up. If you need someone to talk to at a meet that can pump you up, Marsh is your guy.
Can confirm.
Can confirm. He was like that on LA Current. He really just believes in what he's doing. But going back to the coaches that I work mainly with, which is Durden and Matt, they're a great team. And I think Matt coming in, I mean, I wasn't with Dave before Matt, but I can tell that they're just a great team. And they really Dave really trusts Matt with like the sprint group, and everyone just loves them. They're just an amazing duo. And in the fall, I'm like in mid group. So they have like sprint group, mid group, distance group. I'm in mid a lot in the fall just to like get a base in, and like I do well with aerobic training. I hit sprint once in a while, but I am primarily mid group. And then as we get closer to meets, or like I'm still like half in mid, half sprint right now, but I think at OTC I'll be like full on sprint the 2 weeks leading up. I hope. I don't know. But yeah, so I get a taste of both of them, and they're just great guys. Like I said, it's just kind of like a very trusting thing. Like what they're telling you to do in the water, like you're just trusting that it's like the best thing for you. So, and I'm someone who I've been doing this a long time, and like I know my body, but I still kind of like to be told what to do. Like I'd rather you just tell me to do something than me choose. So I just like very trust, like if they tell me that I need to do this, I'm going to do it and believe that it's the best thing for me. So like, that's like kind of what I feel like everyone, when you mentioned like everyone who works with these coaches loves them. I think that's why, is you're never questioning whether you're doing the right thing. And they just bring a lot of fun and energy to the deck. It's like, you're going to walk on deck and you're going to enjoy yourself. You're going to hear a funny joke at some point during the practice. You're going to like have some fun music going on. You can tell them a funny story, or it's just very comfortable and very trustworthy. And I think that's why everyone who works with all of these coaches, and we have that Kim is new on deck, and she's been doing great. I love Kim. I knew Kim before. And so I think just the dynamic that each coach brings is really awesome. And that's why Cal is like so successful in everything that we do. And I think that's like why the legacy is the way that it is. And the reason that I wanted to go to Cal is just because of the legacy that was brought and that has stood at Cal for so long. So go Bears. I mean, it's great.
I just want to do a quick posture check. Your posture is still great.
Oh, thank you. I keep looking at myself. I like head at the top of the screen. It was really funny. I think, yeah, well, every time when I'm swimming, recently, I've always done this, but like when I get tired, I like do this when I'm swimming. So I'm really like, I've always like the past like 5 years, I've been like working on like staying posturized. But it's something Dave said that to me the other day. I was like standing on deck in between like my rounds. It was like a fast set, so we like had our own breaks in between. And I was standing on deck, and he walks past me and he goes, "Posture." I was like, "Oh God." I was like,
No, but you have bad posture when you swim. Explain. So you are struggling when you are.
Yeah. So like I'm very like upper body dominant. Uh-oh.
No, we there.
You're good.
Okay.
Oh, my screen just went black. Oh, I see you again. My screen just like, I was like, oh no. You're back. Okay, I'm back. So I'm very upper body dominant when I swim. So when I get tired, I don't know, hypoxic or like tired at the end of my race, you can really see me like I'm very long in my stroke, and then I start to like get a little bit like this, like my traps pull up and I kind of just start like swimming instead of like staying long. And so that's just always something I've really been working on, and it's hard. You got to train yourself to do that. Like it's just like something that my body does. Like it's like my nervous system starts to like it doesn't like it. And so it's funny because one of my trainers that works on my shoulder, Christy, she says my nervous system is so like touchy, and it's weird because it's like it just like clamps down when it doesn't like something. Like she'll be working on my shoulder after practice, and I'll just be like, my muscles will just be like twitchy, and then I'll just, or maybe it was, every time she works on my shoulder, like my nervous system after is just like, I can't, like, it's a dead arm. Like she'll be like, push against me, and I'll be like, So it's like I don't even know. Honestly, I'm probably explaining this really wrong. Maybe my nervous system doesn't clamp down and then it relaxes. I don't really know. But she's like, the way you swim makes so much sense now. She's like, she has like magic hands, I swear. She knows exactly everything that's going on in my body.
Let's ask the physical therapist in the room.
Okay, so
yeah, you tell me.
The main term for your position in the water is something or a theory called habitual posturing, that during periods of stress, the person likely goes to their posture that they're in most of the day. So that's probably why they're trying to work on having good posture throughout the day, because at the end of the race, you're most stressed and most fatigued and start getting into this position that you're most comfortable with. So that's called habitual posturing. As far as working on your pec and losing strength, maybe do a neuro screen or look at some thoracic outlet syndrome.
Well, okay.
I'm a little worried about that, in all honesty.
No. We're fine. I probably said something like, she's probably, if she watches this, she's gonna be like, Abby, that's so wrong. I don't even know. She's been working on my shoulder for so long that I don't know. It's kind of funny. I don't.
The old dead arm trick.
Ignore everything that I just said because it probably is just like so untrue or irrelevant that I just let her do her. Like, I'm like, Christy, my shoulder again. She's like, okay, I got you. So ignore everything I just said.
She's swimming fast. She's swimming fast. And we're good.
We can just delete that segment out of this.
No, I think I'm a PT as well. I've got so much PT in my life. I swear I talk to people like I'm a PT.
You guys,
right? There we go.
You're probably like listening to me then and being like, that's just not right.
No, I have no idea, but a lot of the things that you said about posture really resonated with me, because those were the things that were going through my head a lot as a sprinter. And some of my best 50s were when I was chin tucked, head long. Think about you're like a string puppet with a string running through it. So long as your spine is really long and you're tucking your navel into your spine, like that's like setting the line.
It's hard because sometimes there's my dog. No, shush. Hey, you. Delivery man. Across he'll see a truck drive by, like any truck, like big truck. It could be there's one parked across the street right now. Any big truck, even if it's not for us, he does not like them. He's like, oh, there's a truck. Like, I think what my fiance says is he learned that if he barks, the truck goes away. So now he just barks until the trucks go away, because every time the trucks drive away.
Imagine if you were training imagine if you were in Texas training with Coley, and then there'd be trucks everywhere.
No, like literally this dog does not. He's the sweetest dog and he minds pretty well. He's like very smart, but he doesn't like trucks or mailmen or delivery men.
I mean, your head position must be going well. We talked with Olivia, and she said that in the 50, you had your head down and you were looking like a torpedo in the water. So that was what she said on our last show. So yeah, there you go. She's at least noticing it.
Well, so it is something I'm very good at the beginning of my races. And even if it's like, it may not even look like it from above, like if you're watching my race, but I can feel when I get hypoxic or when I get tired, I start to do this. And that's something I'm really working on. And it's hard, like you were saying, like chin tucked and stay long. But sometimes if I'm like trying to swim, like, oh, it goes away. If I'm trying to swim, like it's hard for me to like think about, instead of like just tucking my chin in a little bit, I'll like do this.
And
the
so shrug.
Like the shrug. So it's like, oh, Abby, tuck your chin in, and I'm like,
yeah.
So it's like it's something, seriously, it's something, it's like the mini details that like may not look like it can matter, but it matters in your body position. And so, or sometimes I'll be like, my head, like if I'm burying my head, so it's like, oh, don't bury your head, I'll be like instead of this. So
that meme we make is going to be awesome. I'm just going to say that right now.
This what?
The meme that we make off of those faces is going to be awesome.
Don't make me a meme. No, so I probably had like 6 chins in that like photo right there. And so no, it's just something I'm really working on, and it's hard. I will tell you that right now. It's so hard for me. I don't know. My traps really want to do all the work. Like they want to be a part of it, and I don't want them a part of it. Like, they're like, oh, let me in. And I'm like, no, stay away, like, down. You're great for strength, but we don't need to be in the race, okay?
I remember
these guys need to chill.
I was working with George Bovell, who trained at Cal for a couple of years actually when Mike was there, and when George was doing his 50, and he and you know, I was like working with him, I was on the water with him, and he says, look, one thing I really try to work on when especially when I'm getting tired in the last 15 or last 20 or 50, he would imagine that there was like a cat like raising his neck, and like he would just try and raise his neck up. And then raising his neck up, it sort of lengthened him and kept his chin down as well. And it was a really nice feeling to feel like, yeah. And then it opens up your traps as well. So it was a nice feeling to like the back of your neck, kind of like pulling up.
Some things, if you just say it in a different way, it clicks in your brain. That is something I learned all through college, was like, if you don't understand something that someone's explaining to you, like ask someone else and to explain it to you, and they might like explain it to you in a different way. That is something that kind of like, I'm like, oh.
That's why I learned to do butterfly kick on your back.
I just learned something today.
Butterfly kick on your back. I will explain what the key word was. Anyway, we go from there.
I'm not good at that.
That's great. That was terrible.
Your teammate Hunter Armstrong was on, and we were talking about weight room stuff. And I think B asked him, what's the most amazing thing he saw in the weight room? And he said, oh, it's got to be something Murph did. And it was Murph like front squatting more than Hunter can back squat. Then he said, or something Abbey did. And he never told us what it was. I think that it's something you did. So what do you think it is that impressed him so much in the weight room? Is it 500-pound shrugs, just working those upper traps more, or what is it?
I don't know. Wow, thanks, Hunter. No, Murph is impressive in the way. Literally, hold on, before I answer your question. This is so funny because I lift with the dudes, right? Like, so our pro group is all dudes. So Hunter, Sean, and Ryan. And we're around like the guys too, like the really strong, like the sprinter guys are near, like, and then there's me. And I am a very strong female. Like, I'm really strong for a swimmer. Like, obviously swimmers are weak in the weight room compared to other sports. But like for swimming world, let's talk about the swimming world. I'm strong. I know that. But like, I'll be like ready to max or something, and someone will one of the boys will like walk over and be like, yo, can I warm up with this? And I'm like, I hate you.
Yo.
I hate you. No, it's just like, they're all so strong. And if I just start lifting a little earlier, then I'm like into my reps already. And they'll just like walk over and be like, boop. And I'm like, okay, well, I had to like take a moment to actually lift that. So you guys suck. But the one thing I can hold my own on is bench and like incline bench and bench. Like, I'm good at cleans and I'm decent at snatch. Like, for a female swimmer, I'm decent at those things. Like, I love doing cleans. I'm good at bench and like dumbbell bench. And we only dumbbell bench. We don't barbell bench. So I'm good at those things. And I think I think maybe he was talking about, I think one of the most impressive things that I did was like incline bench 60s for like, but it was like alternating for like 8.
Wow.
I don't really know.
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't sound, I mean, I don't know.
Sounds pretty good
But
to me.
maybe.
Sounds pretty good.
I don't know. It's like,
sounds pretty good to me. I would say if I was gonna go do some dumbbell bench, I'd probably.
You got an incline though. It was incline.
Okay. I was about to say I would
maybe, up 2 clicks. Okay, we're like this.
Yeah, fair. All right, maybe I won't warm up with your weight then.
See, whatever I tell you I did, you're gonna be like, that's not that great. And I'm gonna be like, thanks.
True. That's not true. Yeah, and
I think what I can do in the water is more impressive than what I can do in the weight room.
Well, that's the way it should
be.
For sure.
I can clean like, I've never gone over. Well, actually, I think one time I went over 165, but I like will clean 165 for like 2 reps. Like, that's like kind of like where I hit my max. I don't know. See, nothing I say is like, wow. Like, oh.
Yeah, it is. It's just without context. Like, I mean, there's
maybe it was my squat.
Oh.
I was back squatting 215.
Whoa.
Nice.
Something, maybe there was one thing, I can't remember what I was doing. I think it was that.
I'm gonna apologize to
ever,
our
like, I
international
was
audience who anything is gonna be in
I'm
kilograms.
sorry, we're
We're all
talking
about
pounds. No, tell them it's kilos. They'll be super
Do
impressed.
10 kilos, reps.
But you never
No,
know
I
how
don't know.
strong or how weak swimmers are based on how fast they
I
are.
think the weight room is like so different for every event,
Everybody
every
athlete.
swimmer. So like, I think the weight room, the boys are way more impressive than me. Like, I just said that, but
Yeah.
like,
But here's the thing.
I can do some impressive stuff in the water though. Like, give me an aerobic set and I'll surprise you.
Well, and that's what it's about. Like, you need to be able to translate what you do in the gym. And I will tell you that the last couple of years of my training, including the Olympic trials that we overlapped at in 2012, that was my last Olympic trials, is your first. I walked into that meet and felt like I was ready to go do a workout in the gym. I didn't feel like I was ready to swim fast. And here you are about to transition. And you mentioned something at the beginning that I really wanted to come back to, because I don't know that it's that common. You're going to taper at altitude. Can you talk about like the strategy? Is this something that you've done before? Yeah. Tell me more about
Never
that.
done it before. Never done it before. I think the mindset behind it is kind of like, obviously you're at altitude. We're going to be up there for 2 weeks. So you get the benefit of it. Just being up there, breathing the air. We're not going to be doing anything crazy aerobic or anything. I think for me, mostly it's going to be just kind of being able to focus and having everything in one spot. No outside things affecting you. I can swim, go get my food, get my recovery, sauna, ice bath, massage, get everything all in one spot, be at my best in every aspect of training. And then also you're at altitude, but like the altitude training, I don't think is the biggest part of it. I think obviously you get the benefit, like I said, but I think it's more of just kind of being in your own zone leading up to trials.
Abby,
but I've never done it before, so.
I was in Ecuador in recently, and I would get so out of breath. Ecuador is like 12,000 meters, right? I was so out of breath. I was like, what the heck is going on with me? Am I ready this old? And it messed with my mind about how in shape I was. I can't imagine taper at altitude and perhaps having those doubtful moments. How do you,
Yeah.
But you have to trust that, like, you know what, it's okay. I'm going to come down. It's going to feel great. And you just have that focus. Just give us that quick, like, mantra you're having. Like, dude, this is it. We're going to feel great when we come down. I don't care. I don't feel so good right now. Different.
I don't know. That's a good question. I've never done it. So we'll find out. I think I adapt pretty quickly. Like when we went in January, I trained great up there. So I think just kind of having that in my mind, like, oh, if I can do this at altitude, then we're chilling. And also, like, we're not going to be doing anything crazy aerobically hard up there. So, like, whatever we do is mostly going to be like tune-ups, technical. We'll probably suit up once or twice up there, and just kind of feel it. Like the work is done. Like you can't do any more work. We're 2 weeks out. Like the work is done. You're not going to get any faster than what you have in you already. So just keeping that in mind, like I can't do anymore. Like what I have in the tank is what I have in the tank. Now I just have to tune up and rest and bring out what I can. So just keeping that in mind as well. Like I'm not up there to work. I'm up there to relax and be at my best.
Well, based on what we've seen this season, you got a lot in the tank. So good job with that.
I hope so.
All right. I know you're not in a rapid fire, so take this at whatever pace is comfortable for you. But we've got a few to close it out. What's the hardest race in swimming?
4 a.m.
Olympic gold or world record?
Olympic gold.
Do you pee in the pool?
Yes.
What's the slowest acceptable reaction time for a sprinter?
0.69.
Got a few from the audience. Best pool you've ever swam in?
That's hard. Okay, I'll go 2. My best training pool I've ever swam in is in Croatia.
Cool.
Looking over the ocean. That pool's beautiful. Best competition pool I've ever swam in. I'm gonna go Budapest because that pool and those stands are always packed and loud and crazy and fun. It's a good pool.
Yep.
Stands out
Budapest.
in my brain.
Budapest. Everybody loves it. Thoughts
Very
on
cool.
PB&Js?
I love PB&Js. I crush Uncrustables like no other. Like, I love an Uncrustable. Strawberry jam.
Strong opinions.
But I will eat the grape ones.
All right. Go-to pre-race song.
Every time we touch. Like I say. Okay, I will listen to anything, but that is just like one of the songs that like it just will never be old.
Yeah.
It never isn't like, oh, this is a banger. Like I don't always listen to that before I race, but like if someone were to turn it on, I'd be like, heck yeah. Let's go.
All right, that's it for audience questions, but two more. What's still on your shopping list for Greece?
Sandals. I have all my dresses that I need. I'm gonna be living in a bathing suit and like dresses, right? Like we're in Greece. But I don't have like comfortable white sandals. I want them to be white. I don't have like comfortable walking white sandals. If anyone has any recommendations for comfortable sandals that are white and walking and that aren't Birkenstocks, because I don't want Birkenstocks, please let me know. DM me.
Oh, first world problems. Okay, last one.
Yeah,
how
really.
much of your taper is going to involve social kick?
All of it.
Hell yeah.
The whole thing. We
Bold
social
move.
kick every day though.
Hell yeah. That's
Like
what
I
I'm
told you, the
talking
work's
about.
done. No, I'm kidding.
Thanks for hanging out with us, Abby. It was super fun to get to chat with you, and stoked on where you're at in your life, in your swimming career, in your season. And sounds like you got the whole next few months planned out. So whew,
I do.
what a summer.
Yeah.
Well, cool.
Summer.
Thanks for joining us. We'd love to have you back sometime, but we're looking forward to watching you continue to swim fast.
Thank you so much. Thanks for having me.
That's it for Social Kick. We'll see you next time.
Yeah.
Hey, everybody. Thanks for hanging out with us. If you're enjoying Social Kick, tell your friends about it. And be sure to tell us what you liked by leaving a comment, and subscribe wherever you get your podcasts. Follow us on Instagram. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel, The Social Kick. And you can find all of our content on our website,